You know why I dropped Diablo first?
Why?
Because you were trashing him. Because you were trash talking.
I was.
Talking. He looked like a fool when we were bear hunting in the Gila.
I was.
He absolutely looked like a fool. I had that blue tick female, and all he wanted to do was chase her around and mark behind her, and he was just acting like a total idiot. And you were trashing him, and so I was like, okay, you want me to put a dog down first? I'm just going to put Diablo down.
You were so smooth about that because I did not know that. I just thought you were like, I just want him to like kind of get started and warm up a little bit. And I mean, he freaking got it going in like 5 minutes. But I will admit, I wasn't trash talking him directly. I was just I was just hyping up Cajun 10 times more.
This is what you said. Danny asked about those plots, and you said, "Oh, I love Cajun. He's a good dog. Diablo, not so much." This is the Houndsman XP Podcast.
Good dog, get that bear. Get that bear in
The
here.
original podcast for the complete Houndsman.
Look at your total go, Justin Heights! We're gonna get him! We're gonna get him!
The podcast that represents our lifestyle of extreme performance.
Get him there! Get him! Get him! Yeah! Good boy! Good boy, Ranger!
Uniting houndsmen across the globe, from east to west, north to south.
You know, if you're going to catch a cat or a lion, you know, you have to have teamwork.
We take you to the wildest places on earth.
Yeah, so how many days a week can you spend out there?
As much as I can, to be honest with you. Anytime that I get, I'm out there.
Join us for every heart-pounding adventure on Houndsman XP.
I'll tell you like I tell everyone else, I'm going to hunt whether you're here or not, so you might as well be here.
Chris Powell gets right down to business. There's no pre-roll for him. There's no chit-chat before he hits that record button. He comes in guns blazing and expects you to be ready. And here I am looking like a disheveled meth Santa.
I've got the hog face on, man.
Yes, sir. He knows what's up.
What's happening?
Just,
Long time no see.
What's up?
Long time no see.
Hey, man, it's that's a crime. First of all, secondly, I'm still recovering from our good times, man. I keep having these epic hound hunting adventures, and I keep losing my voice. I just went out yesterday with my friends and had an insane time, so I sound all gravelly again.
That's because you were out catching rock-hard rabbits, right?
Cheers to that, man. That's what's up. The hardest of the rocks. Yes, sir.
No doubt.
It's a good time.
No doubt. Well, hey, man, we just got back from Texas. Met you in Texas. I went on a walkabout, started in Louisiana at Uncle Earl's, and then hunted a few days in Louisiana, and then swung west and hooked up with you and Danny Butts and Dustin Machado and that crew. Henry Heller.
The best crew. Yes,
Henry
sir.
Heller. Shout out to the landowner.
Yes, sir. That's a great crew. I travel a lot for Houndsman XP. I feel so fortunate to be able to have those experiences, and the East Texas crew, they're the best, man. Those guys rock. They know how to treat us right. They know how to have a great time, which is huge. And they know how to make you feel like you're really a part of the team and not just a guest, but like a part of the family. This is my third time going up there with them. And Dustin just reached out to me out of the blue, and I spent some time getting to know him a little bit. And yeah, they're the real deal, man. The Groveton Express was my episode I did with them about blood trailing. I met Danny through Dustin, and we were in Dustin's truck, and I was talking about how I pig hunted in all these various ways, and Dustin was just like, "Hey, this guy, there will be no hunting at night. He catches them during the day."
Yeah, no thermal bacon for you anymore, buddy.
No thermal bacon for me anymore. I mean, I will. I don't want to be that dramatic. You guys know I'm dramatic, but I don't want to be that dramatic. If it's a good time, I'll do it. You know,
Yeah.
Rigo Garcia is a good friend of ours. He hunts at night. He threw me an invite. Yeah, probably going to go hunting with him. It'll be really fun. But it's not something I could do on the regular, you know?
Right. Yeah, that's because you can't stay awake at night.
That's true. And you were making fun of me a lot for that, which is totally warranted. I just need everyone to know that right off the bat. You got to knock me down a couple pegs.
I was dragging ass
Oh,
when
man.
I got to Texas. Oh,
Yeah.
I picked up some kind of crud. I'm pretty sure Ed infected me with something in his camp.
That seems likely.
I didn't drink any water from his camp, or I'm
was
not
gonna
sure,
say-
and I'm not sure, but we all were at Uncle Earl's. So Ed made a post about this on Facebook, which I thought was hilarious. But some people came to the Tuskers booth that probably felt like they were interrogated while they were there, and we had a drinking game going. And I brought a bottle of top shelf rye with me and there was a keyword, there was a buzzword of the day. And if we could get somebody to say the buzzword, then whoever was last to blow a dog horn and like make a real tone on a dog horn, then they had to take a shot of rye.
That's great.
And so there was one guy in particular and I was trying everything. Nobody wanted to say the word. The word was rough. And the crazy thing about the word rough is that everybody, when I'm standing in the parking lot, people are walking up and they're looking at my dogs and they're like, "They pretty rough? How's that little terrier? I bet he's rough." And so when we got to the booth, we were talking to people and we're like, "How would you describe your dogs?" "Oh, they hunt pretty hard. They're dirt, man. They're dirty. You know, they're dirty dogs," stuff like that. Finally, we got this guy to say rough, and everybody scrambled for a horn. And we looked at this guy and he's like, "What in the world is going on?" He had no clue, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. The first thing I would say is like, do you like your cur dogs soft or how are your cur dogs? Because everyone
Right.
says rough cur dogs. Like,
I know. And we tried that. I mean, I was whipping it all. I mean, I was laying it all out there. Every interview interrogation skill I had, I was doing it. And these guys would not say it very often.
crazy. That
Yeah.
seems like it's the most obvious thing.
I know.
Dang, that's good. That's a good guy. That's a great
And then when I
idea.
got to Texas, everybody was looking at my dogs. They're like, "They're pretty rough. Man, it's a rough group of dogs you got there." You know, and I'm just like, "Where's the rye?"
Well, the
But-
way you were looking, rye was definitely not on your menu that time.
Man, I picked something up somewhere. I've
You
still
needed
got a
some
terrible
NyQuil.
cough.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I feel great. You didn't give me your disease. I was thinking about that. I was like, man, I sure hope I do not get a flu from this guy. But no, I feel great. So,
Yeah. Well, you weren't
that's
around
good.
me that much. That's why you started riding my buggy a little bit, and then you're like, "Screw this. I'm riding with Danny."
I had more. Well, okay, that had nothing to do with your pestilence. That had everything to do with Danny's rate of travel. And everywhere he was going, there was pigs bayed. So
Oh, yeah.
that's
sure.
why.
For sure.
Yeah. It was such a good time. It was so funny too. You could just watch me get more and more haggard as the trip goes on because I was just trying to go as hard as I could in every direction. And
Yeah.
that was just it's just such a good time. 27 hogs in 2 days.
That's crazy.
It's so awesome.
Yeah. That's just unbelievable. I wanted to talk a little bit about, do some comparison, side by side comparison. Because Danny and those guys are hunting a different style of dog than I hunt.
Mhm.
And my dogs come from Mike Colley over in Louisiana. And the hunting's quite a bit different, as far as kind of the working of the hunt and how the dogs operate and different things. It was amazing. It was cool to go to Texas and see a different style. They're hunting cur dogs with some plot mixed in. But man, some of the things that I saw were just the cool thing about getting to travel around and hunt is you get to see all these different styles.
Yes. Second that. And meet
Yeah.
all these cool people.
Oh yeah.
I tell everyone I like dogs, but I love people.
Yeah.
And so you get to meet I love to
Well, I guess meeting the people's okay.
I like to just immerse myself in the culture. You know,
Yeah.
I am really working hard on not talking about my crew when I travel because I just want to. And hey, before you say anything, these guys are like family to me, so I feel like I can let the rules down a little bit. But it's just immerse myself in their culture.
Actually,
like
I didn't hear you talking. I didn't hear you talking about hunting at home at all, Seth.
Huh? That's crazy.
A couple other times that we've traveled,
Yeah,
I might have even mentioned it to you. It's like, dude, let's just focus on what we're doing right now.
it's just I get so excited, and you don't even think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's part of learning. You know, being a professional guest. But I remember we were all sitting around, and first I want to make a full. Well, actually, no, I'm not going to say this just yet. Let's get into it. I want you to tell me the difference between your style and what you love, or excuse me, what you've experienced in the past versus what you experienced then, because this is what I started with. So I don't really know much different, but I will say that what you experienced those 2 days is like the cream of the crop. Danny's taken me some of his other places, and it's more like what you would expect hunting, in that it's like, you know, we catch 2 to 5 pigs a day. It's tough. The races are way longer.
Yeah.
You know, it's way different. But I do remember distinctly being like, what do you think of this? And you were like, it's kind of slow. After we had caught like 10.
We caught 16 by noon, and I was like, oh, this has been kind of slow. Yeah, right. It wasn't slow at all. No, for one thing, the terrain from where we hunted, and Danny told me, he's like, man, you got to hunt come back and hunt some bad places with us.
Why?
I'm like, why would I do that?
Exactly.
I get to hunt shitholes all the time. I don't need to drive to Texas to do that.
Exactly. Yeah. Henry's super cool. Why are we going to utilize that resource? He's the bomb. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Plus they want the. We got a dog barking at something. Anyway, so the biggest difference that I saw from where we hunted in Texas and where we hunt in Louisiana, Louisiana's a lot of course, the boat-based part of it when we're hunting the marsh is completely different. You know, the terrain's different, the cover's different, or the accessibility to certain areas is different. And then when we hunt in northern Louisiana, then it's amazing. If you drive from northern Louisiana all the way down, and I've driven it from like where Uncle Earl's is all the way down to Pontchartrain and go across, and then you go west and go out through Baton Rouge there. It's just amazing how much cover there still is in Louisiana. It's wooded the entire trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
There and the parts that are wooded also have a lot of water in them. So access is a big thing. So I think there are less hogs in Louisiana, but the hogs that are there are normally got a little more size to them when we get on them, because they just don't get it messed with that much. You know, they're
just so deep in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Texas was more pasture land with breaks of woods going through there. I mean, we would ride up to thickets and bust them like coveys of quail out of those things.
Yeah.
You don't see that in Louisiana very often.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, and that was one thing that, you know, we hunted a diverse amount of terrain. Henry Heller's place is the best. Like, I mean, it is like you were saying, it's beautiful cow pastures, drive up to a wood lot, turn your dogs loose, pigs go running.
Right.
When we hunted some other areas, it was like palmetto thickets and like heavy swampy bottoms, not anything like you're describing in Louisiana. But how do I say this without denigrating myself? I am not a man who approves of heavy cover. And where we were at Henry's place, it was like not that bad, minus all the briars, I guess is what they call those like spiny vines.
Yeah.
But in the palmetto thickets, that's some tough walking, man.
Mhm.
We had to walk like 300 yards to get to the bay, and it was pretty gnarly in there. You're on your hands and knees sometimes, and luckily rubble leads really well, because can you imagine trying to like lead tank through that stuff?
Right.
So it was it's still, yes, you got really different experience, where we were. And
Yeah. And I think
I was
the need and the style of dog, the need for a different style dog is evident when you hunt both places. Danny's dogs, man, they got it dialed in. They hunt wild and they hunt wide, and they're running until they find a hog. And then as soon as they catch a hog, he's got them broke where they just roll out immediately and they're off to catching the next one.
that's the best part. That blew my mind.
My dogs are not used to that. The guys I hunt with in Louisiana, they've got some dogs that are broke like that and they'll do it. But
The first time I went hunting with him, I'm not a hog hunting expert by any means. I've only done it a few times in different styles. I feel so fortunate to come in with some badasses that have it dialed in like that. But we bait a group in a cow pasture, got up like a whole herd of them, bait a whole herd of them, sent in the bulldog and caught one. We came into the bay. Hogs obviously took off. As soon as the bulldog hit that hog, Danny was just like, get ahead. And they all just took off and ran in and bayed another hog. So it was like they only had to run 100 yards or 200 yards down the trail to bay another one. And we just chain bayed this group and caught 4 in like 25 minutes.
right.
You kill the hog or bar the hog and let it go, or whatever the landowner wants in that particular area, and go to the next one. So that just blew my mind. And last year his dogs were even more rock solid. He was training young dogs this time. You should have saw his pack last year. 2 of them, when the bulldog hits, they just take off. They don't even have to be told. Those ones weren't there this time. And that was incredible. That was some of the most mind-blowing, like dog hunting stuff I've seen so far. That was really cool.
Like bulldog catches, I'm gone.
Yep. They're just like out of here. They don't even try to catch. They just go run in and bay another one.
I really enjoyed it. I like Danny's style of dogs that he was hunting. You talk about wide hunting dogs. When you cut them in a patch, they're going, and they're going to get there in a hurry, and they're going to scour the whole area looking for a hog to run down and bring to bay.
Yeah, I actually, that was the first time I heard that. And this really stuck to my mind. Dustin told me this when we were blood trailing, and this is an entirely different style than the hog hunting. But even with the hog hunting dogs, they both said they were just like, you cut a dog loose, they better roll out. And I just remember hearing that, and that's been burned into my head like a brand. They better roll out. And that's what they do. You cut them loose, and like you said, they're just gone.
Yeah.
And I better not see you again until you have a pig bait.
That's kind of that's what the expectation is for these coon hounds. We don't walk coon hounds. We cut them loose and we walk the trees. And I've seen a little bit of difference, like with bear hunters, is they'll walk through an area and expect their dogs to be within, 200 or 300 yards of where they're at. 300 yards is usually the max, and it's completely different. So the way they hog hunt in East Texas is real similar to what I'm used to with coon hunting in Indiana. Yeah.
You're just
probably
not
the closest
any
thing
armored,
that I've experienced, actually.
I was gonna say, you're just not leading any armored bulldogs into the tree.
Exactly.
That's the best part. Full disclosure, that's the best part. I'm just gonna say it right now. Call me shallow, call me cheap, call me basic, whatever. Leading rubble in, turning him loose, that is the best part. Although I'm not at all brown nosing right now, everybody. You got to know. Me and Chris have been friends now for quite a while. He knows me very well. I would never do this. I really, really enjoyed listening to the plots run that hog. I really enjoy the sound of the race a lot. That was cool.
Rigging hogs, just rigging and moving out, and they're a different style dog than Danny's cur dogs. He expects his dogs to bay back and just hold a hog, whereas the plots catch a hog.
Get your rye out, everybody.
Huh?
I said, everybody get your rye out. They're rough.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. They are rough. And Tuff's rough.
Yeah, Tuff. Patrons
Did you
are already
hear
going to
Tuff
see
run
that
it?
video. Yeah,
Did you hear
patrons
Tuff
will see
run
that
it?
video of him getting tough on that hog.
Could you hear him running that track?
Yeah, I heard him rig it, which I didn't think he was rigging. I thought he saw a hog. I didn't realize. Yeah, because guys, let me set the scene for everyone real quick, Chris. Guys, we're okay. I was so excited. This is exactly how I wanted it to go. It's a beautiful East Texas morning. The temperature is like 68 degrees. There's only a slight breeze. The ground is wet, but it's, not super humid. We roll into the first spot. Henry, Danny, Dustin, we're all together. Chris turns out Diablo. He starts sniffing around. Takes him maybe 5 minutes. He takes off. Now Diablo's got a race going. So Chris starts driving one way. We turn around and we drive out the exact same way we came in, but with a minor variation to our course. And hogs are running everywhere.
It's
There
like a
are
covey quail.
Yes. Danny goes, "Oh, there's a hog." And it's all on Patreon. He banks the buggy to the left. The dogs see the hogs go insane. I unclip Rubble. He's like, "Send a bulldog," which is like saying, it's the best words ever. I unclip Rubble. He jumps off the top of the rig and just floors it after a hog. He dumps the box and his curs take off everywhere. I hear you've got one bayed. I hear Tuff screaming bloody murder. He's out there chasing stuff. It was the best. I just looked at Danny and I was like, "Danny, the trip's already perfect. Like, it's already made. It's already done. Like, we could call it right now and it's perfect." It was awesome.
You know why I dropped Diablo first?
Why?
Because you were trashing him. Because you were trash talking.
I was.
You were
I
trash
was.
talking. He looked like a fool when we were bear hunting in the Gila.
Yeah, I was.
He
trash talking.
absolutely looked like a fool. I had that blue tick female, and all he wanted to do was chase her around and mark behind her, and he was just acting like a total idiot. And you were trashing him, and so it's like, okay, you want me to put a dog down first? I'm just going to put Diablo down.
You were so smooth about that because I did not know that. I just thought you were like, I just want him to kind of get started and warm up a little bit. And I mean, he freaking got it going in like 5 minutes. But I will admit, I wasn't trash talking him directly. I was just I was just hyping up Cajun 10 times more.
This is what you said. Danny asked about those plots, and you said, "Oh, I love Cajun. He's a good dog. Diablo, not so much." That's exactly what you said. And I thought,
Damn,
okay,
that does sound like something I would say.
okay, tomorrow he's getting the first drop. The Houndsman XP podcast is fueled by Joy Dog Food. Joy Dog Food has a rich tradition of supporting the Houndsmen of America. Founded in 1945, Joy is proud of its history and the relationship it has built with the American Houndsman. And in 76 years, there's never been a recall. Made with 100% American-made high-quality ingredients, Joy Dog Food has one of the highest calorie-dense formulas on the market. For 76 years, this made-in-America product has kept hunting dogs in the field day after day, season after season. And when we say made in America, Joy has a long track record of fighting for American freedoms by being on the front lines against the animal rights movement and their extremist tactics. Joy will fuel your hounds and fight for your freedoms. Fueled by Joy. Hey guys, are you using OnX Hunt on your phone, the app? It's pretty cool, man. We just got back from this trip that we're talking about right now. So I hunted Louisiana and Texas, and everybody was on OnX, looking at landowners, looking at terrain, looking at all the features that those comprehensive maps have to offer. And I wasn't even using the map cards in my GPS. I'm just coordinating everything with my GPS and looking at onX, and boom, I had to retrieve dogs off of a neighboring property in Louisiana. And when we were in Texas, we were checking landowner information. We had to do it there as well. And it made it super easy to be able to find out who owned the property, gain access and permission to get that done. You need to be using onX, and you can check out onX by going to houndsmanxp.com, go to our sponsor page, click on their logo, big red square with a white X in it, go to their website and sign up for their elite membership. You'll get access to all 50 states, all kinds of cool features. You can mark routes, trails, signs, all of it. It's all right there. Enter the promo code HXP20 and get 20% off. Know where you stand with onX. That's what
you need to say to me. When you come running with me, you need to be like, man, that Comet's a good dog. Pronto, not so much.
Oh,
yeah. Oh man, it was so crazy. So tell us about that first scatter from your perspective, because I never saw your dogs or Tuff. I just heard what happened later. Tell everyone what happened.
All right. So we found hog tracks around a small pond there, livestock tank. And Diablo made a swing out and then came back, and then he started trailing out to the east. And I'm watching him on the Garmin. And all of a sudden I see that he goes to tree mode, and I start listening, and everybody's standing there. And of course I can't hear anything anyway. I step out a little bit and I could hear him over there. So I got my buggy and rode around there. Well, Tuff is riding in the front seat, leashed up, and I keep him up there so I can fire him from the front. You know, he just bails right out the side, man. He just, and
from the hip.
we pull up there to this thicket, and I can see through it, and I can see Diablo, and I can see the hog. I couldn't really tell how big the hog was. And I just fired Diablo, and then I ran back and put the other two plots in, Cajun and Cypress.
Wait, no, you fired in Tuff, not Diablo, right? You sent Tuff in.
Oh yeah, I fired Tuff. Yeah,
there you go.
Fired him in. Diablo had the hog bayed. Fired Tuff in. Got Cajun and Cypress on the ground. By the time they got there, the hog broke and took off, and they caught him within 20 or 30 yards, and we didn't even have to use a bulldog on that. He was a small shoat, but
we didn't have to use a bulldog on any of your bays.
No, I didn't.
That was badass.
And then, so I was gathering everything back up, and I broke Tuff off there, and he's standing around there, and finally he took off, and I lost track of him. And I'm going over to one of the bays that you guys had, and I'm tracking Tuff, and these piglets come running out of this thicket, and Tuff runs up and catches one, probably 8 to 10 pounds, and he just goes on a murder spree. Total seeing red. I mean, he was redlined. He was just like catching one, shaking it, catching the next one, shaking it. I was following him through that thicket and found 4 dead pigs through that thicket. And I got back to the buggy because he was like 100 yards ahead of me, and I got around to the front, and he comes running out of that thicket with blood dripping out of his beard, and he's just like, I mean, just and wild-eyed. He looked at me, he's like, I've been waiting for this day my whole life. I mean, it was.
Dustin was like, that little thing went on a murder spree.
He did. He absolutely did.
Awesome. Somewhere in the world, and here's the thing, most people didn't realize this. Even he didn't realize this in the moment. But during that YAG rampage, Chad Reynolds was working on his computer, and he was like, huh? He didn't know. He was like, huh?
I feel it.
Yeah,
I feel the force.
Exactly.
Yeah. The force, Luke. Use the force.
Good. YAG power. He loves those things. So do you, man. I felt like when I sat in your buggy, it was, I like you moved Tuff, but I feel like in reality, I had to move for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you did. You were sitting in his seat. For sure.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
so fun. And his day was not done. Not even close.
Not even close.
He kept rampaging. And
Yep.
hey, I'm going to fast forward time before anyone thinks that this guy is just like a dumb little monster that's catching and going to get himself suicided. I came into 2 bays, I believe, 2 or 3, 2 bays where he was not catching. They had a pretty good size hog bayed, and he was baying and keeping his distance. And when the bulldog ran in, he thought, and the one I distinctly saw him, he thought that bulldog was a hog, and he got out of the way of
Yeah.
that bulldog. And then the bulldog hit, and he came in and caught after, but he was baying solid with those curs, not your hounds. Your plots weren't there. He was baying with the cur dog. So I was actually really happy to see that. He's smart too. He's not dumb.
Right. Right. Yeah. Not when it comes to one in the water, though.
Yeah. Oh well.
Once another dog catches,
That's
he's in.
the thing. Yep, he's in. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And he's not half-ass in either.
No, he's not.
I was surprised, man. He looked like a piglet latched onto a big hog. And yeah, well, break that one down, because that was all you too. I was just I happened to hear that. That was actually him shining like a star too. That hog they caught because of him. So break that down.
You talking about the rig?
Yeah. that
Yeah.
was
So
awesome.
we're moving up along this. And I always pay a lot of attention to the wind. When I'm driving through an area, and the wind was blowing perfect out of this big, long thicket along this fence line. And we're going up through there, and we hit this little break, and then some more brush, and man, everything blew up. The plots blew up. Tuff was firing. And like I said, I had him in the front, so I just fired him right from the front, let him go, and then got around there and dumped the rest of them in on it. And they had a pretty good race there. That was
fun.
Yeah, they got in there, and I don't know who got the hog jump, but you could tell when he got on his feet and started moving. I think Danny dropped a couple dogs in there. You guys were a couple 100 yards ahead of me, and he dropped a few dogs in, and then they caught him in the edge of a lake.
It was crazy too, because Tuff's bark is so loud and shrill.
Mhm.
You can hear it so far. I could barely hear those hounds, but it sounded like he was standing next to me when he rigged that hog.
Yeah.
I was like, dang.
It's annoying.
It's so annoying, but
You
works
can hear it,
good.
man. I just laugh. I just laugh about it. And the thing is funny about it, Seth, is the fact that, when I haul him around to like hound events and stuff, people are like, "Is that your squirrel dog?" It's like, yeah, he's a squirrel dog.
I would have loved to watch him run an armadillo down. That would have been awesome.
Oh, I'm glad we didn't get into any of that mess.
I
They
did.
would've-
I
my-
tried to catch one.
My pack would have trashed. They would have been, they wouldn't even thought anything about it. Been like, okay, that sounds good. Possum on
Like that
shit.
skunk in the Gila.
Oh yeah. They don't care.
They're just like, something's alive. Never
Yeah,
mind.
let's kill it.
Yeah. I tried to catch an armadillo, like me. Seth Hall tried to catch an armadillo. And I used to be a lot faster than I am now. I discovered. It's been a while since I've done a 100-yard dash. And armadillos are quicker than I expected too.
Well, the thing about it is you bring so much energy and fun to all the hunts we go on, just the whole, it's like you walk into a room and leave with 5 Facebook friends, so it's just,
Well, I just live for the experiences, and it helps a lot when you're hanging out with guys like Dustin and Danny and all their friends. Their wives
yeah.
are super cool. Their family's cool. All their friends are cool.
Yeah.
So it's kind of easy to just like, let your guard down and just have a good time. They're so down and they're so real. That's what
Yeah.
makes them so cool. They're just such real dudes. And they're awesome. I mean, obviously I can't say enough good times about it. And here's the thing, guys. We've only broken down 3 of the 27 bays. So
Yeah.
this
it
was only
just-
like
it
what?
was nonstop. And we
This
were
action you were talking about, this is like the first hour.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we
It
were
was
just tying hogs, marking them on the GPS. How many hogs did we pull out of there with?
The first day 17, but I think we tied 9. We had to go back and find 5 of them.
Yeah.
And we picked them all up at the end of the day. It was a good time.
Yeah. We're just tying hogs. There's still a good market for hogs down there, wild hogs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I
So-
mean, it's huge in North Texas. It's huge.
Yep.
Catching
Yep.
them alive for the USDA plants. It's massive.
For sure. For sure.
Anytime something says wild boar meat on it, it's usually USDA inspected wild hog.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, one of the things that amazes me about, Dustin and Danny is we kind of threw this trip together on a whim. Started planning it in March. And so we just didn't, but I just dropped a message to Dustin. He's like, heck yeah, come on down, and
That's
Danny,
exactly what he would say.
Danny and
Yeah.
Dustin had everything lined up. I was feeling like crap when I rolled into town, and Dustin wanted to go out to eat this super cool, nice restaurant that I would any other night I'd be totally down with it. And I just felt like the only thing I was thinking was, man, I'm a pussy. I'm sick. I don't feel like hanging out. By the time I get back to the house and get dogs taken care of, it's going to be late. Danny was trying to be nice to me and tell me that I could put my dogs in kennels. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm good. Where can I go to bed? And but that's the first time you ever ate crawfish.
It is. And here's the cool thing. The last year I was there, they were like, hey, have you ever had crawfish? And I was like, no, never have. And they were like, well, we got to do it. But it just never happened. The cards never fell that way. First night on the third trip, we go to crawfish. That was cool.
Yeah.
I will say, only a slight amount of technique needed to eat them. They're delicious. It's more of a social thing, I feel, than actually a meal. Because I ate like 2 pounds of them and I wasn't that full. But
Yeah. You got to
they're
work.
really
You
good.
work it off as you eat them.
yeah. Yeah. We had a shrimp and crawfish platter, and the shrimp is like 10 times meatier. And I love all food. I've never eaten anything I don't like. And so, yeah, it was great. It was a wonderful time. I could tell you felt terrible.
Yeah.
I was telling everyone, I was like, hey, he's normally a lot more chipper than this. Because they were worried that you were like upset. And I was like, dude, he's not upset. Look at him. He looks like shit. So he's not
Yeah.
normally this ugly, I
More
promise.
so than usual.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things that, Dustin made the comment. He's like, I listened to you on the podcast and you're talkative and you're always talking and stuff like this. So I didn't know, Dustin and I was talking to Dustin before you ever went down there, before you ever hooked up with him. I think we were just talking dog stuff. And so that's the only contact we'd ever had was a few messages back and forth. And he's funny. He's like, I didn't know what to expect when you got here. I didn't know if you were going to be some kind of spun out crazy Yankee dude or what was going on. And I said, it's funny because when I go places, I'm not talkative. I'm pretty introverted by nature. I like to stand back and watch and get the feel for the situation, not be the overbearing one and stuff like that. So it's kind of a different deal when you get out and you start meeting people, because it's so easy to develop opinions of people.
Yeah. And another thing too, I thought was really funny. They got a camp trailer for us, everyone, for me and Chris to stay in. And we were driving back in Danny's truck, and you were sick. And so Danny was like, hey, you can stay in my house if you want. I know Chris isn't feeling well. I was like, yes, I would love that, because you sound like a chainsaw, a bear, and a hippopotamus all combined when you sleep snoring. So I was like, I'll sleep out in the dog kennels. I just need that peace and quiet.
Right.
So it was
I
a good
told
cover.
you before you came, I was like, bring earplugs.
Oh, I know. And I forgot them. So I was like,
I just ordered one of those Osmo mouthpieces, anti-snoring device. My wife and I aren't even sleeping in the same bedroom these days.
I was going to say, she must be a powerful creature.
Yeah. She has been for a number of years. And, she gets up every morning at 6 o'clock to go to work. And we've both been sleeping a lot better.
Yeah. Does that thing help, you think?
I haven't used it yet because I got it while
I
I was on the road. And then I came back with that, like the tuberculosis cough.
Yeah, dude. That's nasty.
And so I haven't tried it. Tonight might be the night.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I, so after Well, I walked in. I'm going to go back to that bay with Tuff because when they were caught, that was another thing that surprised me is how tough your hounds really are. Like they do just catch. No, they never needed a bulldog. And Tuff had that hog caught by the ear. And he kept getting like rammed underwater, and he never came uncaught. Never. Like you could hear him like bark squeaking when he had his like hold. He's like, "Rrr, rrr," and then you hear him go underwater. He'd be like, like you could hear him underwater, like
he came up. He came up. He looked like a drowned rat. I mean, all that fur and stuff got all matted down, and then you could see how skinny and spindly his little head really is.
Like a drowned rat. That was funny. He did. I was going to ask you. I want you to. I'm going to interview you real quick. Give me the things you loved about Texas and the things you didn't love about it. Because I always like to ask tough questions to good guests, and obviously you're a good guest. You've been around. Tell me the things you loved. Tell me the things you didn't love.
Well, like you said, the people were outstanding. I love new experience. I love the fact that there were so many hogs to catch. That was cool. It had the opportunity to really get dogs dialed in. We didn't have any trash races. That was something to love, just because there were so many daggone hogs.
I was going to say, what are they going to trash on?
We didn't have any armadillo races. We didn't stretch any skunks. We didn't run any deer. So those were all pluses. I just love the Texas. Texas is like a feeling, it's a place, but I just like the attitude of those ranch community Texans, and like Henry and Dustin and Danny. It's just part of the culture, and they like to have a good time, and they love to hunt and everything. But as far as things that I didn't like, I mean, there wasn't anything to that. There wasn't anything that I didn't like, and I've never had a bad trip to Texas. East Texas, West Texas, South Texas. I just have a good time. I like the Texas culture. I've met some Texans that I didn't like, but
that doesn't matter where you're from. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase the question then. What do you like more about Louisiana hunting than you do than the Texas hunting?
The Houndsman XP Podcast Network is powered by Cajun Lights. All of your lighting needs for hunting can be taken care of at Cajun Lights. They have 3 models of cap lights. I'm going to run through them real quick. You've got the Rougarou, which is their high-end light. If you're a competition hunter and you got to find that coon up in a tree and it's all riding on finding that coon, you'll want the Rougarou on your head. Next is the Bayou. That's a pretty standard light, but it's got packed with features. It's got multiple colors. It's got walking lights. It's got the red, the green, the amber. It's all built in right into that light. And then you have one of my personal favorites, the Micro Gator. The Micro Gator is an ultra lightweight cap light. It's got all the features of a white light, red, green, and amber. I've used this light for everything from finding bear tracks early in the morning to coon hunting at night to working on plumbing in the house, changing tires on the side of the road. My truck doesn't leave the driveway without a Cajun light in it, and that light is the Micro Gator. Every Cajun light is durable, made from the highest quality components, and it is backed by Cajun's top-rated customer service. Check out Cajun Lights. You can go to our website at houndsmanxp.com. Go to our sponsors page, hit that link, it'll take you right to Cajun Lights. Check them out. They got a lot of stuff to offer over at Cajun Lights.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
What do I like more about Louisiana?
Yeah, so I guess the differences between the two, what do you enjoy more about the Louisiana experience than you do the Texas experience?
Well, the thing I like about Louisiana is you can really test dogs there because you got a lot more trailing. You might find a hog track or get a rig track, but you may trail a hog for 2 or 3 miles before they get him jumped, and then having dogs that can stop the hog and bring him to bay. And then so you've got that. Whereas the part, and I'm just going to say, is we just hunted a very small part of Texas. So my experience is very limited. I'm sure if we got up into the Sam Houston, the National Forest, up in that
it's way
country,
different.
more wooded, then there would be a whole different set of challenges. But Texas is so daggone big and diverse.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of ecocultures, ecosystems in that. But where we hunted, it'd be a great place to really dial in some young dogs,
Mhm.
and just get them absolutely sold out on catching and baying hogs. And but Louisiana offers some challenges as far as the cold trailing part. You don't need a dog that cold trails where we hunted. Maybe up where Danny lives, you could see a little more cold trailing ability and a need for it up there. But where we were at, you didn't need cold trailers. There's so many hogs, you waste your time cold trailing a 12-hour-old track.
They would be trailing that hog and just stumble into other ones right in front of them.
That's exactly right. That's
Yep.
exactly right.
And that's the thing, the first place I ever went there, it was way different than Heller's place. Way different. I mean, those dogs hunted almost 12 miles before they found a pig. So, like you said, it's so diverse. I mean, you can find any experience you want in a place as big as Texas, but we're speaking specifically for where you and I hunted there. And we call it Candyland for a reason. It was awesome.
It definitely is, man.
I really would love to come with you to Louisiana if you're ever interested in that. I would love to. I like to experience different things. That's
a boat-based hog hunt is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah,
it looks awesome.
It's a lot different. It's a lot of fun. The marsh has got its own challenges, where you're crawling through palmetto and stuff in some of the places you hunted. When you're in the marsh, you can take one step and, be up to your hip in mud, muck, and stuff like that. So it can have some challenges.
Yeah. Yeah. And what kind of dog do you need to succeed there? Like what's the ideal type?
Well, I just have to rely on what I've seen with Mike and the dogs that he hunts, because Mike Colley is extremely successful, and his whole group of hunters are. But a dog that can trail, will take a hog track and move it out and get it up, because they'll spend a lot of time evaluating tracks in Louisiana, for size. You drive down the road, and if it's a small pig track, unless you're just bored, you're looking for a bigger hog track from a bar or a boar hog. And so you'll turn loose on that specific track and expect the dogs to take it out, because you want to take those pictures like we took of the big hogzilla,
Yep, that was a nice hog. Holy crap.
Yeah,
is that a boar or a bar hog?
A bar, about 300-pound bar hog. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
He wrecked some dogs, split the bulldog's chin open. But just a different style.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not even going to ask you what you like more. That's a silly question. They're both awesome. It's just pluses and minuses to each. I'm already planning my return. I think I'm going to make it a 2 times a year thing instead of a once. It's just so fun. Like it's just such a good time, I want those guys to come over here and hunt with us. I want them to come experience my neck of the woods. A good friend of mine, David Riley, shout out. He actually just called me out of the blue while I was there in Texas, asking if we could go run some rabbit dogs. And I was like, hey, I got some guys that would love to put up a lion. You interested? And he's like, heck yeah, bring them over, man. I was like, awesome. So that'd be fun. That'd be really fun.
Yeah, that's a cool thing when you go other places and you want to share your experiences with other people. Even though it's just a coon hunt here, which seems like old hat to me, there's tons of people that are like, man, that sounds like so much fun, just taking dogs out and treeing raccoons, and I'm like, I've been doing that for 40 years. Let's go to your place and hunt,
Yeah,
it's all got its special. It's all got its place.
You say all the time on the podcast that Indiana is the mecca of coon hunting. So I feel like I really need to come and hunt with you to do that. And it's so funny. We've worked together for so long, and you haven't hunted with me with my own dogs, and I haven't hunted with you doing your like original thing, coon hunting.
Yeah.
we've done all this other stuff together, traveling on the road. And so I just think that's really funny. But yeah, I want to come to the mecca of coon hunting and classically tree a raccoon with you. I think that'd be cool.
I could probably find some guys that could show you that. Indy's getting there, and my blue tick male, he's getting there. But
Nice.
he's
Got a great voice. I loved hearing him under that bear tree. That was awesome.
Yeah, he's got a horn.
I don't have any hound bias, but I will say, to me, blue ticks define the sound of the hound, in my opinion, which is limited, but anytime I'm hunting with hounds, I always love the sound of those blue dogs. They just sound amazing. They're beautiful.
Blue ticks, for the most part, have got that traditional hound sound to them. The breeders have made that a trait that they've bred for. The walkers have obviously bred more. I don't want to get in trouble here. There's a reason why you see a lot of walkers in the winter circle at the PKC hunt. They've bred for that style of performance. And there's a lot of walker dogs that are loud, but they're not that traditional rich hound voice that you hear. Mm-hmm. There's certain hounds out there, walker dogs, that are like that. Black and tans are traditionally pretty traditional sounding. When you think of how hounds sound, then they sound like that. The older red bones were like that. I haven't hunted with any red bones for so long that I don't even know what the trends are in the red bone breed anymore.
I've never even seen one. So there you go.
Yeah. Some of my first dogs were red bones. The very first coon dogs I ever had. I had one walker that was a direct son out of Red Eagle Dick, Gary Hearn's dog. And he was like 12 when I got him. John Harris gave me that dog when he was 9 years old. John was in his 70s, and he was getting out of hunting, and he knew how much I loved it, and he gave me his dog.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's really special.
And Rock Creek Charlie Pride was his name. He was ticked up walker dog, but he was the first dog that I could take out and actually tree raccoons. But the red bones were next, and made them night champions and stuff like that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed hunting with Lauren's blue ticks. They are beautiful sounding. Tree raccoon, classic sound. And I will say, and that's what I enjoyed so much about your plots. I'm an auditory creature. I like to listen to stuff, and hearing your dogs trailing and baying for the brief moment they bayed, hearing them trailing the hog was super. It was just awesome. It just gets you really excited to hear that just horn moving through the woods. You know exactly where they are. You don't have to stare at the Garmin. It's boop, 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 boop. Like it's like a little radar beacon. And it's cool. It just sounds awesome. It's like I am hound hunting right now.
Right.
So I love that. It was really cool. And it was a lot of fun.
My plots they're not suicidal either. It's like they know what hogs they can bully and what hogs they need to bay. Because we've caught some big dangerous hogs, and I've never had a serious wreck, but I haven't caught hundreds of hogs with them. If somebody's hunting like Danny does, it's every day it's going to happen. It's a serious hog hunter. I'm a guy with dogs that will chase a hog. Ed Barnes is always funny. He's always like, he introduces me at Earl's and he's like, "This is Chris Powell. He runs the Houndsman XP podcast. He's not a hog hunter." And I'm kind of like, I'm down here hunting hogs right now, but he's right. I'm not a hog hunter.
Yeah.
Those guys do it every day. And I'm telling you, Mike we heard Danny, with his emergency vet skills.
Oh, dude.
Man, if they don't know how to do that stuff, you end up with dead dogs.
Yeah.
And Mike and Danny and any serious hog hunter,
they're amazing vets.
Yeah.
Danny has done some incredible work. Yeah. I'm in awe. I really am. I'm not just saying that. It's incredible the knowledge he has. I was talking to his wife, and we were just kind of sitting there, and she's like, "Oh yeah." She's like, "He can do like full on surgeries to dogs." And I'm like, "That's incredible."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way
so-
Mike Colley is. Mike sent me a pic. Well, I saw the dog when I was down there that got with a rough hog that, I mean, it punctured him pretty bad. And the vet ended up opening that dog all the way up and making sure nothing was punctured on the interior there. So he didn't get septic and infected and have bowel leaks and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And Mike was like, you know, he said in the past I've done my own surgeries like that, but I've also lost a few dogs. So he said, so anymore I'm a little more cautious.
Yeah.
So,
The thing is, for me, is getting hold of an anesthetic. I just don't suffer those kinds of injuries. The kinds of injuries I suffer, they're either orthopedic or they're like just skin tears from barbed wire. Staples, they're good to go,
100%.
So it's an incredible world, though. And the dog, this is the cool thing about cultures of different hound hunting people, different game, different quarry, is that the culture that builds around it is so unique. And with hog hunters, all of those dudes that I've met are like, they're so good at just like assessing what's a problem and what's not a problem. And they're just like, he'll be fine. And I'm like, really? And they're like, oh yeah, he'll be totally fine. Yeah. And they'll just give him some simple, like very simple, rudimentary, basic bets, antiseptics, antibiotics, some stitches, good to go. I'm just like, damn, that's awesome. Talk about keeping a level head. That's what I really respect. Without being cruel, they're just like very practical. Like, it's awesome.
I've seen injuries that I would have been like stapling and stitching, and guys are like, no, you don't want to staple that or stitch that. Just leave it open and let it drain and just keep it clean. And, so they're out there at the kennel 5 or 6 times a day, flushing it and keeping, chlorhexidine or some sort of wound spray on it. And, just letting it heal from the inside out instead of stitching it up and causing, because they've got so much experience. Well, you think about how dirty a tusk from a hog is.
Yeah.
And then you put the environmental pollutants with it, which everything in a marsh is decomposing. So you've got all those natural bacteria running around. Those guys have learned that one we stitch, that one we don't. You might have to staple them out or stop the bleeders and stuff like that, but it's just a matter of when you're not used to seeing it, it looks traumatic, but they know what's best for that dog.
Yep. That's exactly the point I was getting at. Yep,
yeah.
Exactly. And
It's
this is some
amazing.
of the most beautiful thing about spending time around houndsmen and hunting my own dogs and growing as a young houndsman myself is that your perspective on dogs shifts in I think a very healthy way. I think our culture is so weirdly obsessed with dogs being like children, being like little kids. And I'm like, dude, they're dogs. Like, and when you hang out with a lot of these old school houndsmen, and not even old school, just houndsmen in general, you quickly learn that, like, man, dogs are way, way tougher and more badass than people think they are. And
For sure.
because I hadn't been raised in that kind of culture, I just had dogs, like just pet dogs, like outside dogs growing up, they're just like dogs. But this is a performance animal. And so you're putting a whole nother level on them. And now, man, even, just keeping cool under fire has been seriously one of the best gifts of houndsmanship that I've learned. And it's really great. And these guys just take it to a whole nother level since they're such badass self vets,
Yeah.
So it's really cool to watch. It's beautiful, actually. Yeah.
For sure. Yep. That was a cool trip, man.
Oh, yeah, I can't get over it. I mean, my voice is still wrecked from it. And then yesterday, I had a insanely fun time with my friends. And I don't know if you know this about me or not, but I get really excited during a rabbit race.
Really?
Yeah, it's a real problem.
You get excited most of the time. That's you have fun anyway. You bring excitement to a lot of things. Just like catching those baby pigs. That was freaking hilarious.
They're so adorable. Look. I'm not saying I'm a badass or anything like that, but I'm not a little bitch. Like, I think they're cute. I'm going to tell you, if you don't think those little piglets are adorable, you're a psychopath. Look at them. They're the cutest thing in the world.
Yeah.
So what happens was we split a group. Little piglets ran off. I don't know what happened. We weren't there. The dogs took off. And these were like neonatal pigs. They were like less than a week old.
Yeah, they were probably no more than a week old.
Yeah.
And here comes
so-
Seth carrying an armload of little pigs up there.
Oh,
Spotted pigs, brown pigs.
So cute.
Oh, man.
Oh my God.
And we got it all on video.
Oh my God. You started the camera right when I was like, I was just nursing these because they were trying to make fun of me. And I was like, you can't make fun of me.
Right.
Nope. I'm going
was
to own every
hilarious.
second of it. I wanted to take them all home. Oh, they were so cute.
Yeah.
Look at them. Anyway, so yeah, they kept them as pets, which is awesome. You can do that. And that's the cool thing about Texas, man. It's they're just like, oh, you want them as a pet? Yeah, you can just have them as a pet.
Yeah,
I'm like,
just have 'em.
just take them home. I'm like,
Right.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like all the kids were like, yeah, let's just bottle feed them and keep them. I was like, sweet. I wish
Yeah.
I could have kept one. I would have named him something cool. I don't know. I wanted to keep one, but
There's
Danny
probably
kept
some-
one.
There's probably some laws about crossing state lines.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And the airlines probably would have frowned on it, Seth.
he's my emotional support pig. man.
Exactly.
How dare you? How
Exactly.
dare you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you know that when you travel with dogs, it's against, if you claim that you've got a dog that's an emotional support animal, that they can't ask you to produce proof because it's a
Yes, I
violation
do.
of HIPAA?
I work for the government, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
you have to do a bunch of paperwork and trainings and all that stuff. And I just did my emotional support animal training, and I learned all the laws about that stuff. And it's
Yeah.
crazy that there's certain things you can do and there's certain things you can't do. And I'm just like, hey man, all my dogs are emotional support animals. They support me emotionally by catching rock hard rabbits. You know what I mean? I'm
Exactly.
still glowing from yesterday. Good dogs.
So, Seth, are we going to have any HXP TV episodes come out of this hog hunt?
Oh, is the sky blue? Is the ocean full of water? Absolutely.
Why don't you tell everybody what HXP TV is?
Hey, everybody. So, HXP TV is a sub channel on the Houndsman XP YouTube channel. It's kind of the brainchild of the Houndsman XP crew. Me and Chad host it. I've had Chris on as well. And what it is, you guys, is when you're watching a YouTube video about hunting with dogs, everybody knows you just fast forward to the tree part. You just fast forward to when they got the game caught. Houndsman XP, HXP TV is all about the high action moments from all of our hunts. Our episodes are no longer than 15 to 20 minutes. We take a brief amount of time to give you some context and what's going on. We keep it short, we keep it sweet, and we keep the action coming. So we have 6 episodes up as of today when this was recorded. 6 or 7. Got to go look. Either way. And we got drone footage of my rabbit dogs, buggy footage of Chad's dogs, footage from Chad on horseback with his falcons and dogs combined, footage from our bear hunting in the Gila, just bears treed, dogs right behind bears. Footage going to be coming up from Canada when it's like bear crosses the road, dogs cross the road, all the fun stuff. So I just really wanted to keep it high energy, high action, all the stuff you love as a hound hunter or even not a hound hunter, and you want to see cool hound hunting action. It's all there. And I will say, full disclaimer, we have a Patreon page, as you guys may or may not know. Houndsman XP has a Patreon page, and almost all of the footage on HXP TV is first dropped on the Houndsman XP Patreon page, raw, unedited, because YouTube doesn't allow a lot of stuff. Patreon does. So if you want to see some really rad action videos from this trip that me and Chris are talking about, go check our Houndsman XP Patreon page. That's where all the real cool action is. HXP TV is awesome because we can air to a huge audience, but YouTube is YouTube. So
Yeah, it's
There's
appropriate for the appropriate space.
Correct.
Serious houndsmen are the people that are in our Patreon group that support us. I appreciate every one of you for doing that. And so it's we're a little more open about the things we do. We're not. There's a time. I mean, you don't sit around grandma's house and tell dirty jokes, or I never did. And it's just when you're out with the guys, that might be funny, but that's not the way I was raised. Grandma doesn't need to hear it. So that's kind of the same thing.
Great metaphor.
Yep.
And so not that HXP TV is grandma's house. It's definitely not. There's a lot of crazy fun action, but you know what I mean. You guys know what I mean. Yeah, so check us out there, you guys. HXP TV on YouTube. That's where we've already got tons of fun episodes. Some of my favorite races of all time. I was going to trickle those out. Couldn't help myself. I started with some of my favorite ones. The drone has been unbelievable. I used the drone yesterday, caught a 5-minute, 7-second hare. It was insane. It was insane. 2.25 miles. So to catch one hare.
We need to take the drone to Texas.
I don't think you can. That's the problem.
What do you mean? Legally?
It's not legal. Yeah.
I got you.
That sucks. I already talked about it. Yep.
They're helicopter gunning them in Texas.
I know. That's what I said. I was like, you can have a kangaroo as a pet, and you can't fly a drone over a freaking hog race. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
No kidding. There's more tigers in Texas than there are in India.
And all of the wild of the world combined.
Exactly. Yeah, but don't fly a drone.
Exactly.
Don't fly the drone.
You can literally hunt hogs with a flamethrower, and you can't chase it with a drone, Texas. You'd be so crazy. What is going on here? So a good friend of mine, he has a really good friend of mine. He's like a brother to me. He's like crazy into tennis. And I don't know what it is about tennis that attracts this like very eclectic older crowd of people. It's kind of like a wealthy sport. So you kind of get this weird, it's like golf sort of, but more athletic, I guess. But anyway, he's really good friends with a woman who's been trying for years to lobby the government in New Mexico to allow her to bring her kangaroo breeding facility to New Mexico. And you can't do that, but you can in Texas. She's got all these kangaroos in Texas.
Wow.
But I can't fly my drone. So stupid.
Crazy.
Anyway, yeah.
Well, hey,
that's my weird thing of the day.
Got anything else?
Yeah, I was going to ask you one more question.
All right.
Then this is the last one. We're going to make this an annual thing?
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I got to plan my route a little more strategic next time.
It better end at my place from an attack.
More hunting and
less being sick.
Yeah, without being sick.
Yeah.
Some more stops along the route to capture more experiences. You know, I need to check out what Ed and Tanner got going on down there in Oklahoma.
That's not far from me either.
I just need to fly to New Mexico and spend 3 days and chase some rabbits and some hares and be done, you know. Yeah,
bring your wife too. I'm like a New Mexico tour guide, man. I don't know if you know this, but I love New Mexico. So
I heard that somewhere.
I'm going to show you around. You guys will have a great time.
I actually think that's pretty cool. You know, that you're that deeply rooted and you have that much state pride. I mean, and I get that way. I get that way about Indiana on certain things, but for the most part, you know, a lot of times I'm searching for things to show people or do with people when they come to Indiana. There's some certain things that are pretty cool about the state. You know, Johnny Ringo came from here. Not Bob Dillinger. John Dillinger. Bob Dillinger is not from here. John Dillinger. You know, we were big in the whole Depression gangster area thing. Al Capone was always in Indiana back in the day. So all kinds of hideouts there. Some pretty cool stuff. A lot of great American history right here in Indiana. But yeah.
It's awesome.
We don't have the public land and the vast beauty that I could move to New Mexico. Like I could start packing as soon as we turn this off.
That's what my wife said. She's like, you think Chris would move here? I was like, dude, in 1 second, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
It's a hound hunting paradise. Like,
for sure.
So it's anyway, come fly out here. It'd be awesome. Anyway, I was going to ask you, we should make this a yearly thing. They already pitched it. Danny and Dustin were like, dude, we're doing this every year. You down? I was like, is grass green, son? Heck yeah, I'm there.
Right.
Like, this can be awesome. It already is a yearly thing for me.
The only thing we need to do is if we're going to hunt Candyland is stay closer to Candyland. Man, that 3-hour drive.
Oh man, that was wearing me down.
I was feeling so bad the second day after the first day of hunting that I called you and I was just like, dude, I'm getting a freaking room. I'm not driving.
That was smart.
Yeah.
That was smart.
So
I didn't really care because Danny was driving, but at the same time, I agree. If we're going to hunt there again, that'd be cool if we all got a Verbo together and chilled. That'd be fun because then we just keep the party going.
Yeah.
there's no shortage of party when Dustin Machado's around, which is great.
You got that right.
That's perfect. That's the kind of energy I love. That's why I love that dude.
Life of the party.
I'm down for the party. I'm live, die for the party as well. So that guy we're a good match. I like that dude.
Yep.
But anyway,
thanks, Dustin. Thanks, Danny. We appreciate you. We love you. We're going to be back as long as you'll have us. We'll observe the 4-day rule. You know, that's the kind of private joke we were talking about. I told Danny, I said, you all treat us so well when we come down. You know, he's hospitable and everything. And then you can never figure out when us Yankees don't want to leave. You know, you complain when we don't want to leave.
Yeah.
And so he's like, there's definitely a 4-day rule.
When does it end? When does it end? And when do you need to go?
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, you can't do that more than 3 days. I don't think your body, the dogs are just worn out. On the 27th bay, Danny cut in some of his dogs. They just walked up to the bay, barked a couple times, and then just walked away. I was like, they were so tired.
Yeah.
So, we were just like, I'm ready to call it.
Right.
Yeah. So,
well, I'm ready to call it on this episode, Seth.
Sounds good, brother.
Appreciate everybody tuning into this episode of the Houndsman XP podcast. You know, join us on Patreon, see the cool stuff. We share some of that stuff occasionally when we're feeling generous. Seth will drop them some stuff and make it public. Our YouTube channel is easy, Houndsman XP. And just look us up there. You catch HXP TV, dropping videos all the time. You catch all of our old episodes of the Houndsman XP podcast on there. But if you're listening somewhere besides the Extreme Performance Outdoor Network, man, go over there and subscribe. We need you to go over there and subscribe. We need you to give us a rating, you know, just like you did when you first started listening to Houndsman XP. Give us a rating over there and leave us some comments. You know, it helps us out. Helps us out in a lot of ways. Check out all our stuff over on houndsmanxp.com in the shop too. The shop is rocking and rolling. We've been getting flooded with elite nutrition orders, which is awesome. And it's a great product. We just added wound spray and the canine punch, which is a hydration additive over there. But we've also still got all of our merchandise over there. All of our t-shirts, hats, decals, all of that kind of stuff. And Cajun Lights is there too. So
go get a This Is Fair Chase t-shirt. Go get one. I'm wearing one right now. They look great. I wear a medium.
I'll tell you one thing that people, it's slowed down, but spend your money on the Join or Die collection. Because that money right there, when you spend that, we send the profits to fight the Initiative 91. That is not over, people. I was trying to think the other day, I heard a Winston Churchill quote. He goes, "This is not the beginning of the end. This is the end of the beginning." You know, so that's where we're at in this fight. It's not the beginning of the end. It's the end of the beginning. And what we're getting ready to move into out there is this. We're in the signature gathering right now. And then the campaign's going to start, and that's where we're going to need the money. So don't be sleeping at the switch. The fight and the threat is real. Check out our Join or Die collection and order a hoodie or a t-shirt today and help us beat the antis.
That's right. Join or Die.
All right, man. I'm gonna hang it up for this one.
Sounds good, brother. Hey, thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
You bet. All right. That'll do it for this episode of the Houndsman XP podcast. This is Fair Chase.